Hi, it's another wonderful Saturday afternoon, and we are here with another edition of Heart to Heart Conversations. As you know, Heart to Heart Conversations is a platform that encourages married couples to be specific, to share their stories of their successes and gains they've made in their journey as married people. Today's edition is one of those that is going to be interesting. I have with me like the variable people there. I call them the Agindes. So it's Ibrahim Mubarik Ainde and his wife Jibril Iklimah. Is actually Ahmed Subud? Yeah, it's Ibrahim Mubarik and his wife Ahmed Jibril Iklimah who are featuring in today's edition of Heart to Heart Conversations. They are here to tell us the story of their marriage, how they met, what keep their relationship intact, how are they able to maintain a peaceful coexistence amongst themselves as married couple, and how have they been able to navigate the various challenges that is characterized by marriage. Stick and stay. If this is your first time on this channel, kindly subscribe and click the notification button so that you don't miss out on subsequent episodes. You are welcome.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, happy to be here.
Yes, and I am happy to have you. We've been trying to have this conversation, but things keep coming up.
Yes.
I'm happy you guys are finally here.
Yes. So happy to be here.
So, somewhere in 2017, when I first went to Hajj, one of the things that I enjoyed, that I continue to fondly remember, is one time on my way to the Holy Kaaba, I received a message from you, Mubarak. Few hours or minutes later, I received a similar message from.
Interested.
I was wondering, did you guys plan it? And because it was very, very spontaneous, but the message carried the same information. It simply was asking me to pray for your relationship then. Even then, you had not even got married.
Mm-hmm.
We would answer that question later, but then I just want to find out. I think it's fair I read the message.
Oh, really? I didn't
So this message came from Iky. It says that, please pray for me that my love for Mubarak never decreases, but rather increases. Pray that the love we have for each other is for the sake of Allah and eternal. Please pray I never displease him, and not for anything, but to love and cherish him. Pray I become a better wife for him each and every day. Please, please, please do this for me. This was from me.
Oh.
And this is yours. Now this is yours. You were like, you hope, I've prayed for you guys already, but however, I need you to make this special dua for Iky's job and for Allah to grant her the best. That is number one.
Interesting.
I also want you to pray for Allah to make our marriage successful and to grant us the best of it and grant us the twins she so much desires. Allah should grant us the patience and understanding of each other and keep our relationship the way it is or even better. For me, pray that, okay, blah, blah, blah. But so that the concept of this two conversation is that you both prioritized the relationship and you both was asking me to make a prayer to God on your behalf to ask God to make your relationship better and make each other better. How did you get to this point? But first, let's look at the story of how you met. How did you guys meet? I'll start with
Okay.
Okay. I think I first saw Mubarak at we're here. By then, I was in school. We were here in Accra for a leadership training. At, I think, Ramada Hotel. Yes. So it was that evening when Mubarak came with his friends, I think, to visit. Okay, we had mutual friends.
Yeah.
So they came to visit one of our friends. So that was when I met Muba. We didn't actually talk. We just said hi, hello to each other. I wasn't well. They were supposed to go out together, but then because of my health, I stayed back. But then he went with the other friends. But that was when that day I actually saw him.
Okay. Man. Yeah. Yes, I did. What when I am in the time and Yasin tree? But man. Mubarak, what was your first impression of Iky when you first met?
I would say when I saw her, I was like, who is this?
Okay.
She was so gentle and calm, and she speaks that way too. So, so I was wondering who that was. But the funny thing is, she looked like someone I knew,
Okay.
and apparently, the person I was thinking about when I said, okay, this person looks like someone I knew, was actually a relative to hers.
Okay.
Yeah, an extended cousin. And their family, they kind of have the same facial structure. So it turned out to be that she's related to the person. But that was just what was on my mind, aside her being a gentle and calm lady.
People see you guys being here at that first meeting.
I didn't think about that.
It's coming. You see it's happening.
No, it didn't really cross my mind. But I liked her from seeing her, but I didn't really think that far from the first instance.
Just the instant liking.
Yeah.
No, that's years later. You should see you on my channel. So one thing again I'm interested in is, at what point did you feel that, let me try and pursue this interest? What were the things that culminated to that feeling? Or what made you feel like she's an interest, or she's someone who want to be interested in?
Oh, okay. I think from the word go,
Yes.
even though the interests, I liked her from the first meeting, it didn't automatically translate into thinking about going out. But I think subsequent to meeting her and seeing her at the place, we linked up on WhatsApp. No, not on WhatsApp. I think that was on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, Facebook.
So I reached out first.
Okay.
But apparently I just learned a secret that she had known me all along, and she was keeping it to herself. She even had my contact. So even the day I was texting her on Facebook, she really had my contact.
Yes.
So I just reached out to her. I said, "Hi, how are you? Have you returned to school?" I mean, after meeting her,
Yeah.
so we chat on Facebook for some time, and then I think along the way I asked for her contact. We started talking on phone for a period. I could see the interest in her too, because she would call to check up on me. I'll call to check up on her. So to a point, I could feel like this is a very caring person. This is somebody that I could move on with. I could go forward with. And at that time, I had just come out of a difficult relationship, so I took a break for a while, and I was relaxed to take chances. I was thinking, okay, this could be the next step.
Yeah.
So I made the move.
Okay.
And it's like,
Yes.
was this a conversation that we were having? Like, it wasn't like maybe strictly I want to go with you, I'm interested in you and all that. It was just like it was just flowing, like as if we had we knew each other for long, and then like we all knew what we wanted.
Okay.
Like at a point, I felt like I think he should be the one. He's the one. Let me
Explore.
yeah. And then I think it was a mutual feeling because there was no difficulty in trying to explain each other's feelings to each other. It was just
Everything was explored.
flowing, yeah.
So at what point did you have his number?
In fact, she had my pictures.
Oh wow.
Okay, I got his number from a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. I'd also just come up from a very difficult relationship. So she was like, oh, I have this Yoruba friend of mine. I think I have this Yoruba friend of mine, and I think you could be a good match. So she was always talking about it, but I never really thought about it. So there was this time that we were at a program with her, and then the conversation came up again. So she was like, oh, why not check out, let me show you his pictures, maybe you might like him. Okay, and after showing me the pictures, I liked what I saw, and then I felt, oh, he seemed nice, he looks nice. And she was like, okay, you can have his number, maybe call him, or maybe, I don't know. So I had his number, but then I didn't want to call. I was just holding on to see if maybe by chance we'll meet off, by fate we'll meet somewhere, and then we'll start from there. And actually, we actually met somewhere, and then everything started from there.
Okay, great. Interesting story. Knowing you two as on the personal level, you two, in fact, the early days of your relationship seem very interesting and odd. What were the things that you guys did as a way of knowing each other, like on the journey of getting to know each other? What were some of the things that you guys did together that you think fostered the relationship and helped, the whole journey in terms of getting to know more about each other, spending more time together and all?
Now do you check it? Okay. So from the word go, we didn't sit down. Normally people would sit down to agree on certain things, but ours was more like something that flowed.
Okay.
So we read together, we pray together, we do most other stuff together. We travel, we go on holidays, vacation. This like trying to do as much as we can. The things we can do together. We create memories together. So this was some of the things these were some of the things we did to get to know each other better and to help our relationship get the needed cement it needed to stand firm.
I sorry to cut you, but I noticed even at the early hours of your relationship, even prior to when you got married, the bit of travel and sightseeing was always part of that journey. Iky, from your perspective, how did that impact positively the relationship?
At least when you are away from other people, you are alone together, you learn a lot from each other. I mean, from doing activities together. And then at that point too, it strengthens the friendship you've already created between you two. One thing about our journey so far has been the friendship.
Okay.
Like on a normal level, it's as though he's a brother, he's a friend, and then I think he sees me as this is. So from the way we speak to each other, from the way we relate to each other, and then everything, it has always been friendship. And this thing has made it so easy to correct each other when you are wrong, and then to encourage and then support each other in so many ways. And this strengthens the relationship, I think.
At what point, Iky, did you realize, no, I have to marry this guy?
Okay, it got to a point, he had my email, passcode and everything. So there were times that I'll be there, I'll receive an email from a completed application. He's applied for a job for me, like an opportunity. He knew my interest, like the trainings and then the conferences I was interested in. So he used to apply for those things for me a lot without my knowledge. And then he tried to also get me offer like opportunities, any opportunities that he comes across and he feels like I might be interested. He would just go ahead and then apply for me. So I was like, oh, this is the kind of person who is looking out for me, like for my welfare, my productivity and all that. So I was like, oh, this is someone you can build a life with. Even you not thinking about yourself, someone is out there thinking about you and then trying to create set chances for you. So I was like, I think I've found him. Yeah, I found him. So let me just go ahead with it.
Okay, Muba, at what point did you also feel you need to marry this woman, this lady?
I think it was when she's very much a giver.
Okay.
And I saw the selflessness, and I think that was just what triggered my thinking of like, this is the kind of person I want to marry, because she was showering me with gifts. Even before we married, she had so much less than I had, but she was always making efforts to buy gifts. She still does a lot.
What specific events that were like, oh, this girl, I have to wife her. What specific?
I think it was a process, yes, but the selflessness was like one critical thing that got me into making that decision. But there was no such, one instance that happened.
It was more like her lifestyle.
Yes.
There's something that got used to. Okay. I want us to come back to now you are married. And you've been married since 2018, correct?
Yes.
At what point or what one single event, maybe other events, that one time got you feel like, thank you God for giving me this man, Iky?
Okay. I think my first pregnancy, when I got pregnant with our first child, I think we almost went to attended we attended the antenatals together from first to the delivery room. He was always there. And then at that time, pregnancy comes with mood swings and then a whole lot of things. Like, he was always there.
Wow.
With the cooking and then everything. He was always there.
Wow. So
Like I said, to the delivery room.
Wow.
Was there from.
What do you remember turning your head or raising your head to see that he was standing there in the delivery room? And how do you feel about that?
Yes. And then there was, during the whole process, like he comes, he holds your hand and he says, you're going to get through this. And then I remember very well that when the baby was finally out, he was up there holding my hand and then he was like, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. We did it.
Mashallah. Wow.
Yes.
What you learn stuff?
It's a part of him. He's kind and then he's compassionate. That's just him.
Muba, at what point did you feel like, thank you God for giving me this lady as a wife?
I think I say that almost every time. Even before we got married, I have always been thankful for blessing me with such a gentle and selfless wife. She's such a supportive wife. She supports your ideas. She's a very smart person. So you consult her on anything, she brings you very, very different views that you never even thought about. And she's such a supportive wife to an extent that even though she has little, when you need her to do something for you, she is always open to doing that. So for me, it's always been her personality, and I am so grateful. And I keep telling God, each and every opportunity I get, I tell God, I thank God for blessing me with her. And it's a continuous process. I don't say it one off. I say it every single opportunity I get. I thank God for blessing me with her.
So what is your favorite thing about her? Favorite thing about her?
Her selflessness and supportive nature.
Wow. I think selflessness and supportive has come some. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Iky, what is your favorite thing about Ainde?
He's very kind. I keep saying it. He's very kind, and then like he always put himself in your situation, and then he feels it the same way as you feel it, and he tries to I mean, like I said, he's just a kind person, and very compassionate, and then he's loving, the way he loves, the way he shows his love. Like, I mean, it's one of my favorites, the way he loves me. I love the way he loves me.
Yes. He loved the way
He loves me.
he loves me.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, well, I don't motivate you to be that kind of man or that kind of husband to your wife?
I think I would say for me it's been it's maybe from the training I got, because growing up I saw how my dad treated my mom and my moms, and I saw how they treated him. So this kind of helped my upbringing, and at home, it's kind of shaped the way I see women. It's shaped the way, and my mom used to talk to me a lot. She tries as much as possible to she built me to the man I am, and my dad, because I used to talk to him too a lot, and our eldest brother, who is like my mentor, and I talk to him too a lot, and he's one of the best persons to have replicated what my dad did or does. And to get the best advice, I always go to him. And even before I got married, the kind of things he tells you, he guides you on a lot of life issues, and marriage was one of them. And even up till date, when we even go to him together, all the time is going to be about life. He's going to talk to you about how to treat each other, how to take care of each other, and all that. So I kind of have I had mentors, and I still have mentors that I look up to. And I had my dad, I had my mom, and now I have my big brother that I look up to.
And they help shape.
Yeah, yeah, they do.
It's interesting how you have journeyed so far to this point. I want to take us a bit back to still the early days. Iky, what was your family first impression of Mubarik? What was their first view of him? And over time, how has that particular impression been fostered?
Okay, there was no official meeting there with my family, introducing him to my family. But then the first time they met Mubarik was on my graduation day. I had 2 of my sisters and 2 of my brothers there.
Oh, I remember my cute father.
Yes. So I think that was the first time they met him. And then though I didn't say anything about him to them, I'm sure probably the situation they all understood what was going on. So later on, when he wanted to get when we're getting serious, and he wanted to visit my family, so I spoke to the funny thing is that one of his, I don't know what's the
Godfather.
My brother. It was my brother happened, my uncle's son. So happened to be like one of his mentors, I think. So when he spoke to me about him, I was like, I know this man. So tried talking to my mom about it. I was making reference to that my brother. So I was like, that's he's this man. This my brother knows him very well.
Yeah.
So I remember when he came to visit my mom after he left. My mom called my brother. I was like, you know this gentleman very well. So, and then she's your sister. So at least you know the one you are giving your sister out to. So I leave everything in your hands. Since if you say you know him very well, then that's fine. I'm okay with him. And then from the background, from his family to, he happened to come from a very good family. Everyone knows their family in Tamale. So it was quite easy for them to accept him. Yes.
Okay. Man, what was your family's impression of? The reason why I'm asking, you know, if you have the capability of your families, loving the partner over, you know, if you have that quality.
Yes.
Yes. So the funny thing is, my mom sees her as her sister.
Okay.
Yes, because the house in which my mom grew up in is the same house her mom grew up
With her husband.
So my mom was she's like her mom is like my mom's mom.
Okay.
So her mom is like my grandmom.
Okay.
Because my mom grew up in their home.
Okay.
I mean, for years, she was living with them, with her uncle.
Okay.
So when I mentioned the name and the family to my mom, she was like, then you're marrying family, because this is the family I grew up in, and I was in the same house with her mom, and I know who they are. They are very good people, and I have no doubts that it's a good decision.
Let me break it down.
And I think I mentioned it to my dad too, that my dad mentioned that, he knew the dad, and then he knows the family well, and he's happy with my choice.
I remember when he constantly reminded me that I looked like someone he knew. So when he mentioned that lady's name, I didn't know her, but then he mentioned the family, and I was like, that's my uncle's house. So I was now very, like, I don't know, I was scared in a way, because so I called my mom, and then I mentioned his mom's name, and then I was questioning my mom, are we kind of related or something? Because if it's in that way, maybe I'll just end things or something else. So fortunately for me, my mom said no, and then the mom is a very good woman, and then all that. So everything was so easy for us, both families accepting us.
So, like every family, every relationship, there are tests. In fact, as Muslims, Allah himself tells us that he has tested those before us, so he will test us. Over time, what would you say has been your biggest test, the biggest test in this relationship, and how have you been able to overcome it? I'll start with Mubarik.
Oh, okay. I would say in terms of this relationship, I would say in any part of our relationship, there were issues relating to people she still had contact with, who were people from her past, whom I wasn't comfortable with, and we're always arguing about that. And it's that period was kind of difficult for both of us, because she felt there was nothing wrong with that, and I held that opposing view. So we were always arguing about that, and to a point, the good thing about it is that we were talking.
Okay.
We're communicating. I made her understand the reason why I am not comfortable with that. She wasn't agreeing to me, and to a point, we came to a compromise. We came to understand that it was for the best of us, and we both made compromises, and then we moved on. But since then, we've not really had any major disagreements.
What
We would disagree on minor issues, but not anything that can damage the relationship.
especially knowing Iky for always he always has. But what would you say is the number one lesson you learned from that experience? How did what did that experience teach you? As a person, yeah, still on Muba.
I think communicate. Yeah, talk to each other. One good thing about that experience is that we didn't keep it to ourselves,
Okay.
or we didn't hold back anything. We're always, and we were never shouting at each other. Even whilst talking about it or discussing it, we discuss it as though it's just a normal conversation. So even if you have disagreements, there are better ways to argue your points out, and then the most important thing is to talk about it in a mild form and not to get aggravated about such issues. But the most important thing is to talk. Communicate with each other. If you have an issue, you talk to each other. You let the person know that, okay, this is what I think about what you're doing. I'm not happy about it. What can we do about that?
And I love the what can we do involving yourself. Other people will say, what can you do? And then the burden becomes on one person. Where you use the pronouns we, you are involved in helping the situation. That's very profound. Iky, what did that experience teach you? What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, like, fortunately, we both have always been scared of hurting each other.
Okay.
So for a
Been scared of petting.
yes, okay. So for a situation like this, it was like whatever that I was doing, he wasn't happy with it, and definitely he was hurt.
Okay.
So I mean, after having such conversations, it was very normal on my part to come to things and then understand that if I stop this, he'll be happy. So, I mean, if I don't, like, if I should stop talking to whoever that he wanted me to stop talking to, he'll be happy with it. So, and then the communication, the understanding, everything made it easy for me to just let it go. And then we go back being good again.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so essentially, you are also focusing on the communication.
Yes, exactly, the communication.
Would you have would you say that is also what you classify as your number one challenge, or
Yes, God be so good. We've never had a serious challenge in our life.
what do you think, in your opinion, aside the communication bit of it, aside being with him, and aside being basically being scared to hurt each other, what do you think is the number one ingredient that seems to be making your relationship work this way?
Partnership. Okay, partnership. I think to the slightest thing, there's nothing that we do without consulting each other. Okay. Yes. And then I think before marriage, I remember this, we even had a plan that after marriage, depending on how things go on with us, maybe one has to pause or help one grow to this point, and then another person also grow to that point. So, yes. So it's been partnership from day one. So, and then the friendship we share. So it has made everything so easy for us. And then, yeah, and then we at least try to grow in our little way, day by day.
Right. What do you think about the same question? What do you think is the number one ingredient, in your opinion, that helps?
I think there's the willingness of both of us to make this work. Because I see both of us working on this relationship. I see both of us being committed, supporting each other wherever we need to, and we've come to understand each other so much that when she doesn't have money, I know. Yeah. No, I've come to know so much about her, and she has come to know so much about me that a lot of things become so obvious. So when she doesn't have money, I know what she's doing. So that understanding and that willingness of each and every one of us to make it work has really helped us. We've been so supportive of each other, and we are not hesitant to criticize and to advise the other when we think a decision that is being made is not in order. Recently, I made a decision that she even felt I didn't consult her. I did the consulting, but in a subtle manner. She wanted us to have sat down to discuss it, and I apologized. We had a conversation around it. I made her appreciate the need to have made that decision, and we moved on from it. And that's the kind of partnership she's talking about.
Wonderful. Well, in your opinion, in relation to your marriage, do you think, especially from the male perspective, what role do you think apologize when you are all plays in fostering relationships? The reason why I'm asking this, many of us as men seem not to find it necessary to apologize when we go as when our partners are not married. Do you think we should be able to do that, and how do you think that aspect has impacted your relationship with your wife?
I think every human can err.
Yeah.
And I believe apologies are a way that we get over our errors. And I see it to be a critical part of our relationship and any other relationship, because definitely everybody will make a mistake. Once you make that mistake, what steps are you taking to correct that? An apology becomes the first step. And we don't hesitate. We don't find it difficult to do that between us. When she asks, she apologizes. When I err, I apologize. And that has been critical, because since we do that, it has now become like a norm. And though we do it out of our hearts, and it's something that has become part and parcel of our relationships. And it's really fosters the relationships.
How do you usually start conversations? I want Iky to answer this. How do you usually start conversations around reconciliation, or like something you are not happy about? How do you usually start conversations around it? Because we say communicate, let's talk about it. How happy specifically in your relationship? How do you usually start that conversation? Is it that, yo, we need to talk, or B, we need to talk, or you know what, there's something?
You just sounded like her. That's the exact way she uses it. Babe, we need to talk.
Okay, the thing is that he's very observant. So when he offends me, or maybe he does something that I'm not happy with, and just give it a day, he will notice it.
Okay.
Yes. And then same way, like when I see him being, like when I do something to him and then I feel he's not happy, the same day I get to notice it. So what I do is that I ask him, are you okay? It looks like there's something wrong and all that. And then as soon as you ask him, he's open up. He comes forward, and then he's able to tell you what he like what's going on, or what made him not to be like what you've done. Like he comes out clean, he tells you what you did and all that. So what I do is I just say sorry, and then I admit my fault, and then with the assurance that it wouldn't happen again. And then it was never an intention to get him hurt or something.
Right. And how do you also, in your case, when you also notice that you've also offended her rather, how do you also usually start that conversation?
I think mostly if it is something that she comes up herself to ask about, I just apologize, and then try to explain where there is the need to explain. But there are other cases where she would hold back a bit. You would see it in her mood.
Thank you.
She would give you aptitude, but she would become silent for a moment. Yeah, and then once, because that's not her nature, we communicate, we talk every single time. Because we virtually do everything together. So once you observe that she's grown silent for a few hours, I would ask. So once I ask, she opens up, and then we have a conversation about it, and we move on.
And then move on.
Yeah.
And she doesn't fight you.
No.
Out of that image.
You mentioned profoundly how other people, the training, the grooming of other people, how that's impacted your life, your mom, your dad, your big brother, and all. What would you say is the number one advice either of them have given you that you continue to hold on to, and you think that has continued to shape your decisions in marriage? I'll start with Muba.
I think one thing that was said by my mom, and then my big brother, was treat her like your sister, because she's your sister. That's just, yeah, and that's how it's been.
Wow.
Yeah.
You pick. Should anybody treat her like you're in it?
No, not at all. Yeah, the same advice that I've had from my big brother. You respect him, treat him as your brother. But then most importantly, try to always solve your issues between you two. Yes. Don't involve a third party. Always try to solve your issues between you two.
Would you say you've heeded to this particular?
Yes, exactly. We have. I think whatever it is, we just stop over it, and then we get it solved by ourselves.
So there's no third party.
Yeah, I think he has friends. Never called anyone to say, I have this issue with this person, can you speak with him? Or no, we always try to solve our issues by ourselves.
Wow. And how do you think that has impacted the relationship?
Greatly, because no one knows what's happening. Yes, and then you always have a healthy relationship ongoing. You don't hold grudges against each other, and then you're always admired by many out there.
To stay on you still, Iky, if you were to get married, Iky, let's say today was your ceremony, your marriage ceremony, what advice would you give to yourself? To your younger self, younger and married self?
Younger and unmarried self. Okay, well, this thing, what has worked for me, and then aside from being married to a good person, at least I got married to a very kind person. So maybe from the early stages of the relationship and all that, you have to be observant, and then at least know that you are getting married to someone that you know that the person can show for you, and then the person can at least be good to you in all times. Be at your good or at your worst, the person will be good to you. Yes.
The same question. If today was the wedding, with the experiences you have now, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I would say we are a work in progress. I'll tell myself we would both err, and I should be ready for that, and I should be willing to walk through those challenges and those errors, and be able to forgive and be able to move on from there and then from there.
Wonderful. Now to any young person, unmarried person, before we come to that, how does children impact your marriage? Because I feel like it's another angle that many people don't plan for, and it's not their fault.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what to expect. How having first, second, how does that impact your marriage, and how have you able to, journey on from that? I'll start with Ainde.
Oh, okay. I think with this one, I was fortunate to have come across a video from Mufti Menk,
Okay.
which spoke specifically to this issue before we even got married. And that was before we gave birth to our first one. So he broke it down and made it very clear in the video that, okay, once the family begins, there's so much flowers in the air. However, over time, certain other family commitments are going to make sure that it is not always 100% flowers and love. And there's nothing wrong with that. From the video, that's what he says. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a natural process. Because imagine a woman going through pregnancy, which comes with its own mood swings. How would you cope with it if the previous months you were always in flowers and expressing love to each other? Now she's not going to express love to you. But that's a natural process. You need to understand that this process is going to come and expect it.
Yeah.
And once it comes, after childbirth, the 24 hours she was giving to you, now she will need to give 18 hours to the baby. You are not going to get even 6 hours. So you need to expect that. You don't expect her to still give the baby that number of hours and still give you the same hours. The kind of things she was doing at home, you don't expect her to still be able to do those kind of things in full. Yeah. So that's where the support comes in, and then the understanding of both you, the couples, and as life progresses, changes are going to happen. Yeah. And when it happens, you need to have been expecting it. When you are not expecting it and it happens, that's when you feel like this person has changed. Yeah. Because when we married, she used to prepare breakfast for me before I even go to work. She used to do this, or he used to do that on these occasions. Because life, a lot of things change and they happen naturally, and you have to be aware of them and be ready for that.
Oh, okay, great. Iky, how does childbirth impacts what was the first week of being a mother? How did you survive that?
I don't know. I was fortunate. I had people around me to help me through that period. But then it was like, I don't know. It was
frustrating. It was excitement and frustration at the same time. Because we're sleeping. we sleep on the same bed, even with the baby. Yes. So you know how they would cry all night. So you can't sleep. I mean, she's not sleeping, I'm not sleeping.
And then the next morning he's going to wake up alone again with a baby. You're feeling sleepy, all that, and then the stress it comes with, and then at a point, if you are not careful, you feel like, why must it be me? And then he's living his life, But you just have to understand that it's natural, and then it's just a phase. You get through it, and then things will go back to normal again.
Wonderful. Yeah. So, like I was saying, young people, or not necessarily young people, because we have old people who are not married, people venturing into marriage, interested in aspiring to be married. From this your 5, 6, 7 years,
5 years
experience, what advice do you think we can give them? What do you think they need to know? What information can you share to them? Anybody watching before they get carried?
So I think I would say that you can't say you know completely who you are marrying until you get into the marriage. And even when you get into the marriage, every day you learn something about the person. So once you have made a choice and then you've done your background and then you find the person to be the kind of person you want her or him to be, and the person is also committed to you as much as you are committed to making the relationship work, get on with it. However, be prepared to make the mistakes, be prepared to learn from the mistakes, and be prepared to forgive each other along the process. Then you would enjoy the relationship. But once you do not have this kind of a mindset, and then you always have the mindset that
it's all rosy.
then you would have a difficult ride, because you would be always, it's not always rosy.
It's not always.
Yeah.
Okay. Iky, what advice do you have for anybody watching, any person, both married and unmarried, watching?
Yeah, at least the moment you make that decision that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, you should also have it at the back of your mind that no matter what it is, I'm willing to make it work. Put in your best and put in your all. At least, okay, provided there's nothing like abuse or any other thing, you can work it out. Just try your best and communicate, work as a team, and make it work. Yeah.
Quick one before we end. How often do you guys still tell each other I love you, I love you? And how often does that happen?
We still do.
No, you still
Yeah, we still do. I mean, we do it. I don't know. I don't even time it, because it's kind of like,
do you think it's a daily thing?
even if it's not daily, but it's frequent. Yeah.
Right. One thing that Iky said in her earlier explanation, especially when she said she got married, was the fact that you were supportive, and mentioned something like cooking and all, to suggest that you help in there. How did you come to do that? How often do you do it? And what informed your decision to support that way? And how has that impacted your relationship?
Okay, so I was fortunate to have learned how to cook a few meals. I'm very chef too. So one thing I do about me is that I listen a lot. So and she understands that I listen a lot. So sometimes I become stubborn, pretend that I have not heard. So there are days that she'll be like, hey, if I got jollof with plenty pepper and vegetables, I'll really enjoy that. So she might just be in the bedroom, then before she comes to the kitchen, then I'm preparing that. So just to make her happy, she waits for it. She doesn't have to prepare it. Then I get it ready for her. So those are the incidents. But a lot of the time where it happens frequently is when she's pregnant and she needs that support to be able to do that. Then I support her in doing that.
Iky, how does it make you feel knowing that my husband is this type of man? Because it's not a given. Majority of us would not do that, even in the face of seeing that we are struggling.
Yes.
How does that make you feel to belong to or to have such a man as a husband?
We're very grateful because and then the assurance that, God forbid, what in the absence of you, the kids are in safe hands. He's willing to take care of the kids just like we would want to take care of them. And I mean, the cooking, the helping with dressing them up, bathing them to the extent of bathing them. So I'll say with that attitude or that gestures of his has given me the assurance that with someone that's that I know that's with me, myself, and then the kids are in safe hands should anything happen in the near future.
You see it?
Yes, he is.
I sure.
You
don't take
particularly jollof.
Oh, particularly?
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yes, yeah.
Some work.
Yeah. He goes to the extent of adding some other things, vegetable, veggies, some this gizzard and all that. It's not just raw jollof with just tomato mix it like that. He does it very well.
And it comes out 1-1.
Yeah.
The rice comes out 1-1. Oh, I see. I'll come for some lessons. I'll come for some lessons. Yes.
Please do.
I think it's been an interesting conversation. And before we end, I just want you guys to, in terms of 3 words each, what do you think, or what would you say should guide your relationship as well as any other person's relationship, any other couple? Iky.
Okay, communication, number 1. Empathy, number 2. And then supportive.
Communication, empathy, supportiveness. Okay.
Yeah, I would go with the same, but I would add selflessness.
Selfless.
And selflessness. Yeah.
Communication, empathy, selflessness. And communication, empathy,
Selflessness. So she added being supportive.
being supportive. And I'll add, I am a bachelor, but I'll add godliness or spiritual.
Yes.
God fearing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for making time. This has been a wonderful conversation. I'm particularly grateful to both of you for making time. And I feel like we can have this conversation again. But just so that let's assume nobody was watching, right? And was just good to, for this number of years you've been together, right? What would you like to say to Iky?
I just wanted to have my assurance that I'm here to stay, and by the will of Allah, I love her so much, and then nothing can come between us. And the good thing about us is that we pray a lot for each other. I know she prays for me a lot. I pray for her a lot. There's no single prayer that I will make without mentioning her name, and that has kept us going. And I know God would continue to keep us together, and we'll always be here for each other.
Iky.
Yeah, I'll say Alhamdulillah for you, Muba. And then in fact, the praise I constantly was telling God, asking God to give me in a husband. I had a full package and beyond. Why I can't
Complete.
yes, and beyond. So I'll always say I'm very grateful for you, and then I love your ways of expressing your love to me, and then you being supportive and all that. And then I pray that this thing doesn't end, and then in the hereafter I'll also choose you.
I know you love my Pinocchios too.
So say I have to get married.
You should enjoy it.
This is beautiful. You guys have inspired me to get married. I think the prayers I made in 2017 has been answered.
Yes.
I remember and I do that for all of you anytime.
Very great.
That particular day when I received those messages, I stood in front of the Holy Kaaba and I said to her, I read them with a literal and said, "But this is the message I've been given to give to you. Probably this is what it gets us. Please answer it for that."
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
And I think he has.
Yes, yeah. It's been a wonderful journey so far.
So please, in our culture, if someone is praying for you, the person wants, send me Momo now.
You have no problem.
How did they call them? Those by the streets.
Okay, so this have been heart-to-heart conversations. Just think that I did Ibrahim, the bar, my very good friend and brother, and then I met Mubarik and Iklimah, her very good friend and sister. Thank you so much for watching. If you've not subscribed yet, kindly subscribe, clicking the notification button. Please like, comments, and share. Let me hear what you think. And if you also want to participate in this conversation, kindly reach us on the number that I will provide in the description box. Thank you for watching, and see you next. Bye.